Failure really is not so bad. We would never learn how to be brave and patient if there were just joy in the world, wrote Helen Keller. Consider Oprah. She began her career 40 miles from my home as an anchor woman for the Baltimore News. But she was demoted because she became too emotional with the people she interviewed. She would cry on camera. So to get rid of her, they gave her her own talk show, and she did okay with it. I relish these kinds of false start success stories. Albert Einstein failed his college entrance exam. Walt Disney was fired from his first media job. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. And Dr. Seuss was rejected 43 times before his first story was published. But oh, the places he went. These tales inspire me because nothing has ever come easily to me, or maybe to you. I did not receive many early endorsements to write. In fact, my 8th grade English teacher read aloud my paper to the class as an example of how not to write. The reason my name is in print today is because St. Mary's taught me the basics of good writing, but also of analytical thinking. So after I read the first 50 rejection letters, I noticed that they were all signed by an acquisitions editor, the person responsible for either placing your manuscript on the slush pile, which I call the flush pile, or on the desk of a managing editor with contact information of the lucky author. So theoretically, if I were to become an acquisitions editor, I could vote yes on my own books, which is exactly what I did and published 6 children's books the next year from Hollis Press. According to a popular legend, dishonest sculptors in 16th century Rome and Greece used to use wax to fill in the cracks and crevices of marble to make it appear solid. The wax would disintegrate, of course, right after the sculpture was made. However, this happened so often that stonecutters began to stamp blocks of authentic marble with the 2 Latin words sine cire, or without wax. That's where the word sincere comes from. So to be sincere doesn't mean to be without cracks and fractures, but rather to not fill in those imperfections with things that don't pass the test of time. I believe that God lives in the space between the cracks and fractures of our soul. It is God that grounds and shelters our being and gives us the sense of safety and security that is needed to make ourselves vulnerable before each other, and then to go beyond ourselves to spread love to the rejected and hope to the hopeless. Amidst all the counseling, medications, and therapies I've tried over the years, it is ultimately my faith in a loving God that has held me together during the darkest of times. When nothing else could convince me to stick around, I became a scared child in the arms of God and reminded myself that I didn't have to do anything, or be anyone, or write anything for God to love me, and for God to use me as an instrument of his great love. God is the reason I can be sine cire, and so it is with you. You women are incredibly lucky. Students across America graduate today with skill sets they can use in their first jobs or as graduate students somewhere. However, you St. Mary's graduates leave here with a skill set for life, which is far more important than your career. I believe that this school not only prepares you to sit in your first cubicle, but also in an ICU waiting room. You will excel as accountants, nurses, teachers, consultants, writers, but you will also be able to console a loved one who has just lost a parent, or a friend grieving the end of her marriage. You have been trained to succeed in your professions as professors, physicians, stay-at-home mothers, but you have also been enlightened in the matters of heart and soul that extend far beyond the professional world. I have no doubt that you will find meaningful work in whatever field you pursue, because graduating from St. Mary's leaves you with a subtle nagging, a chronic pestering, that makes it virtually impossible for you to ignore your inner voice, to ring the cracked bells, to be yourself, to believe in your journey, and to let your journey direct you towards the service of others. But you will need help. You will need the support of your friends. So I ask you right now to picture your closest classmates and to make a promise to yourselves that in the years ahead you will do your best to remain united with these women, your St. Mary's sisters. In addition to my mother and stepfather, my sisters Trish and Christy, and my husband Eric, and our 2 children, David and Catherine, I have with me here today 3 of my classmates, Beatrice Castillo, Sandy Hernandez, and Libby Gray. They are my St. Mary's sisters and my best friends, as each has taken a turn believing in me when I wasn't up for the job, and vice versa. Just one more story before you go on to receive your diplomas. In April of 2006, I sat on my daughter's bed one evening reading her a somewhat cheesy bedtime story called Incredible You, 10 Ways to Let Your Greatness Shine Through. It was really more therapy for me than entertainment for her because I had just been released from my second hospital stay and was still struggling with the basics like taking a shower, tying my shoes, eating a bowl of cereal. I got to number 8 and read it aloud. Pretend you are what you'd like to be. Make a picture in your mind so you can see that what you want can come true. If you believe in your heart, it will come to you. I paused for a moment and asked my little girl what she wanted to be. A scientist, she said, so I could do fun things like mix body lotion with Kool-Aid and flour. And then I closed my eyes and came to a very clear picture of who I wanted to be. She was a confident woman who had no trouble at all taking a shower, tying her shoes, and eating a bowl of cereal. In fact, having moved through the raw pain of clinical depression, she was able to bring hope and support to those disabled by mood disorders. The woman I envisioned was standing at this podium, delivering a commencement address to St. Mary's College. So, my dear St. Mary's sisters, I hope and pray that you will embrace your failures. Be bold and brave enough to be sincere with others, with yourselves, with God, and that you will carry with you always the wisdom of Leonard Cohen. His words have guided me, and they may guide you too. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Congratulations, bells, and good luck.